I had the blessing of meeting both my grandmothers. I especially remember being very fearful of meeting my grandmother on my father's side because she had just this very intense presence and these very strong, piercing eyes. And so I was just scared to talk to her. And being around her, I was just very quiet. But as my father talked to her and as other relatives talked to her, I realized that it's probably just all in my head, because she was actually a pretty funny person. She was brutally honest about some things, but she was actually pretty funny. And that softened me up to have a better idea of who my grandmother was. And now I think about it and I think of her with this like love and admiration in my heart. And I think as human beings, we tend to have that in our minds about God, and we allow social media or media in general and entertainment to give us this ideal of God of being so brutal and mean and just out to get us, but he's really not. And as Christians, we have this privilege to really set a good example of who God is. In Ephesians 5:1 says, "Be as dear children and mimic me." Why? Because he wants us to be portraying his character to this world who does not know him. In chapter 13 of Steps to Christ, it says this: "The children of God are called upon to represent Christ and to show the goodness and mercy of the Lord. As Jesus has shown us the true character of the Father, so we are to show Christ to a world that does not know his kind love. Jesus prayed to his Father, 'I sent them into the world, just as you sent me into this world. I in them and you in me, in order that this world may know that you sent me.' Jesus, living in us, wants to speak to the hearts of those who do not know him. Perhaps they do not read the Bible or hear the voice that speaks to them in its pages. They do not see the love of God through his works. But if we truly represent Jesus, people may be led through us to see him. They may understand something of his goodness and be won to love and serve him." So I don't know what your goals are for this year, but I pray that as you study the Bible, you learn to live the Bible. As you pray for yourself, you include others in that prayer so that way you would have an opportunity to bless and serve somebody else and show somebody the goodness of God. And then if they ask why you're so kind, that you would have the opportunity to point back to the cross. With that being said, God bless you and have a wonderful Friday.